proposal on the governance forum for a temperature check that I kind of want to have there before it starts. So give me 1 minute. No.
All right.
All right, let's get started. I just put the vote up. I will post a vote in the chat, and at the probably later in the AMA I will talk a bit about that specific topic. All right, guys and girls, welcome to the YieldNest Ask Me or Ask the team or anyone anything. Very excited to be here, and let's get started. I will start off with agenda as I start off with as well. Like we first a little bit of a DeFi knowledge, seeing where we are in DeFi, where we are in the market, where we're going, and what YieldNest's role is in the next DeFi evolution. Then I'm going to address all the community questions and concerns, which are very valid, and fully understand that, and want to openly, transparently talk about anything that you guys have questions about. There's no secrets, there's no weird things, there's just information and things that are that are happening at the moment, right? Yeah, let's get started. So first of all, I'm super happy to see the market. It's finally picking up, guys. It's great to see that EVE is finally getting the attention that it deserves after all those almost more than a year of pain. We're above $3,600 back at where we were like a year ago, basically. It seems there's definitely renewed interest, and it's not just an empty pump, right? Like you can see with the SBAT joining, with all these components that are currently happening, we can clearly see a move towards more mature crypto scene, a more mature decentralized financial stack, a more mature, and of course I'm also happy to see CRV almost at $1 or above $1 already today. I didn't check the price today necessarily, but it's great. Oh yeah, $1.01. Congratulations everyone for holding CRV. That's fantastic. Yeah. So the market is maturing, and decentralized finance is moving forward, right? And what I'm seeing now, and especially with RWA spaces and other things, I can see a merger between the two worlds. Where actually in previous cycles, it was more like we were the underdogs, and we're still the underdogs, but we're definitely getting more attention. We're getting more love. We're being taken more seriously as an industry right now. BlackRock and all these big players moving in. Why is that the case? Well, it's very simple. Traditional finance is not evolved. TradFi, old TradFi is very bureaucratic. It's very slow. It's not transparent. In DeFi, we can have instant atomic settlement guarantees, where there's no barrier between the builder and the idea. So, for example, YieldNest can now build new derivative products, and that's what we're doing. YieldNest and other builders can build new products that we can offer to the world. Similar how the internet opened up a lot of innovation around commerce, around travel, around a lot of things, right? Finance kind of always lagged behind, and I feel now the time is coming slowly for finance to get that internet moment, right? It's going to all these concepts we've been talking about also in previous AMAs of, it started with a simple DeFi concept as an automated market maker where we can instantly sell any token for any token, right? It's such a huge innovation for traditional finance, because in traditional finance, if you have a Google stock or a Tesla stock, If you want to say, hey, I want to maybe swap my Google stock for Tesla stock. For us crypto bros, it's it's like very normal that you can just swap YND for ETH, or you can swap CRV for YND, or you can, these things are for us very normal. But in traditional finance, it's very new. Normally in traditional finance, you have to first sell your Google share back to US dollars, and that has to settle. Then you have to buy with the US dollars, you have to buy back your Tesla shares, and the settlement of that it's days or weeks. Where in crypto we can do it like instantly, right? So it's such a huge innovation, and they cannot hide for it anymore. They cannot hold it back, right? They tried, the choke point 2.0 for all these crypto companies, but it seems that we're winning. It's like, well, we're all sitting here in the basement coding, and are you winning, son? Yes, we're winning. We're moving in the right direction, right? But it doesn't mean that the game is already won. There's still a lot of work for us to do. What the role of YieldNest in this whole evolution is structured products, right? Like YieldNest started with pre-staking for the simple reason that myself and our all the core devs and our whole team was like, that's really cool, because now we can structure different DeFi products, not only with the kind of, I call it the circle jerking or the Ouroboros self-eating snake DeFi points and yields. No. We can actually use off-chain capital and other capital sources to bring into DeFi. And I think that's very, very important. And I do see YieldNest as a big player that will make it possible. If you go to our website, I can actually showcase our new. You can see that in our staging area, we already have the RWA product live there, and all the other products. And what is unique about the YieldNest stack is that we are able to structure DeFi products in a way that was pretty hard in the past, right? And we are excelling at this. We have our whole technology stack built for this. Yeah, that's kind of what we're mainly want to focus on today, to create structured products that are not only generating yield from yield sources like arbitrages or certain market making opportunities or lending and borrowing. We're still doing that. We're also focused on that, but we go beyond that. We're also exploring other yield sources outside of crypto in order to make this into a more mature industry and to make it more sticky. I recommend everybody, if you're interested, you can always read the docs. For example, our RWA product perfectly illustrates what we're doing here, right? Let me share my screen. Second. Here we go. All right. So here we can see the screen, right? Here we go. So this is the RWA product, right? So it's already done. It's already live on our staging area. And you can see a couple of things here, right? So what we built here, it's really cool. And that also goes kind of back to our core architecture that YieldNest built from the ground up. Our GitHub is pretty popular. The marketing we should probably talk more about that, but our tech stack is completely rebuilt from the ground up, right? So as a user, you have interact with basically one derivative, and we call it max LRTs, and because that can be anything. It can be an RWA structured product, an ETH structured product, a USD structured product, and behind that there's different strategies with different durations, right? So if we now go to ynRWAx, you can see here there's a lot of explanations of how it works. We recommend everybody that wants to understand how this work to read this happy flow, right? As you can see here, user comes in, deposits his USD or whatever asset he wants to deposit. We have kind of collectors for this. You can deposit any asset basically, and it swaps it for you for USDC. Then you get ynRWAx tokens. Then we distribute the USDC to the issuer. The issuer puts that money to work in the real world. And we basically it's a secured loan, because you loan out money to a real estate developer. It's tokenized private credit. We're not tokenizing a building. You get a floor. All that bullshit doesn't work. It needs to be simple and effective, and that's what we constructed here. Very simple, as you can see. So basically, the issuer gets the USDC. Then the issuer, on a weekly basis, distributes the yield back to the main vault, and 80% goes into the issuer to generate the yield, and then every week yield will flow back, and then 20% of that sits here in this liquidity buffer to absorb any withdrawals or anybody that wants to exit for whatever reason, and also build trust in the market so that people can actually see, if you talk to the, if you go here to the, you can see here, you can just withdraw. You can instantly withdraw. If you have ynRWAx, you can instantly go back into USDC or any asset, right? Again, we work with Enzo to, we kind of build in these swap routers for you guys, right? Yeah, and that's kind of like our stack and our strength of our stack, and that's also what I want YieldNest to focus on, and would love to get everybody's feedback on this. But I think the stacking of these maturities is the biggest innovation that's now slowly coming into DeFi, and it's never really executed well in the past in decentralized finance stack, because there were a couple of components missing, like processors, or the YieldNest stack that we have. We can build instant liquidity buffers, where you can see here, there's a USD inflow right here, and then 20% of that will sit in this Euler buffer, giving users a liquidity to loop or to leverage or to borrow, whatever they want to do there, and an instant liquidity buffer. And the core yield engine, the RWA, pays out, it's actually like 11%, but it will be between 14 and 16% that will be paid out. And that yield, that weekly yield, will automatically flow back into the buffer. So in that case, you will get this very nice new game theoretical setup. And in order to keep it super simple for the first kind of duration, we will bring this product out, the YNRWAx, but there's a 3-month duration to start off with, right? So basically 90 days to kind of build trust and showcase the strength of our product stack. You can even click here and get a calendar invite of when the YNRWAx matures, and at the maturity, all the principal will flow back into the vault, and you can either withdraw your principal, let it sit, and it will roll. It will then roll over into new terms, and that's something we're still exploring. That's why we do this pilot, to learn and to educate ourselves and to mature. We not only do this with the RWA product, we also do this, for example, with our new USD product, right? We just bought this new product live. We're also going to add new strategies to this over time, slowly but surely. For us, it's security and quality first. We don't want to rush into weird new random strategies, right? So as you can see here, here's our cold yield engine is now in Super USD, and there's an instant redemption queue here for the USD lending market. So you can get in here and we can stack these products, right? And this is the beauty about the tech stack, and we can expand this more. We're working with Cork protocol to also have some DPEG protections we're talking with them about. There will be queuing systems we're working on. So a lot of more things to come. And the TLDR basically is that we want to excel in these tranche structuring, and we want to excel in offering our users simple to understand yield opportunities in DeFi or in RWAs, and stack these durations, stack the risk in a very transparent manner. Everybody can see it. A lot of protocols that I see do not really have that kind of transparency. And I think YieldNest, apart from our, the TGE didn't really go as planned, but on the product side, I think we do have, one of the more transparent products, because you can see here, for example, our BNB product as an example, you can very simply see what is the BNB product doing? There's 30% yield. Okay, so there is a certain amount here in the buffer. There was some daily inflow, and this amount is allocated into the core yield engine, right? If you, for example, go to other vaults, it kind of says that, but you don't have proof of it. The way we prove it, and we will harden these proofs, you can actually go on chain, and you can see what are these balances actually made of? Where the money is actually sitting? You can start to inspect that. So you can go here, and you can see, there's 26 million. it's kind of like the same thing as here. Yeah, it's like around the same. And you can see here, oh, what's actually sitting here? How is it actually distributed? What is actually sitting in this product, right? And yeah, that's pretty unique. Very excited to expand our technology stack and focus on that, and make more revenue and make more products work for the protocol. Before I move on, 70 people joined. Fantastic. Hello, everyone. Is there any questions about product or anything like that before I dive into all the tokenomics or buyback governance and product and community questions? Let me know. Any questions so far? Was it all clear what I explained? Question mark. Yes, all clear. Okay, awesome. Okay, cool, good. Thanks, guys. Okay, let me now go into the questions and answers and why we're all here, right? Okay, let's go. I hope that the bullishness and the direction that we're building is clear and clearly communicated, and more to come there, right? So okay, let's now start with the biggest pressing question of all, and it's quite a difficult time, obviously for myself as well and for everyone. But the simple realization here is that we tried our best. Like, I'm a DeFi person, and basically I would say the TLDR is like I should have focused on a DeFi focused TGE go-to-market, right? I didn't do that because we did have a certain commitment from one of the biggest centralized exchanges on the market for for the TGE, that they will support us and list us, etc. Then unfortunately, last minute before the TGE, that fell through. That they pulled out, right? So for me, like I didn't know what to do, right? So, but I made the decision. I didn't want to quit. I did not want to postpone the airdrop, because for me that was very important to reward the early users, get our governance system out, and start to experiment with our governance system. Start to put the tokens on chain. Start to put a governance system up, because there's always a lot of things, a lot of improvements to be done there. And for me, it was important to just get that done, right? And we did. But it was not. It didn't go as good as I wanted it to go, right? This is my first TGE ever as a founder, and I have been working in the crypto space for a long time, and I don't want to scam anyone, and I didn't want to have this kind of opening of the YND price, obviously, like anybody involved, like anyone, right? Like YieldNest did not profit a cent from the TGE. It cost us money, right? Like we did an airdrop, and the simple response is there were more sellers than there were buyers, right? But on top of that, we had kind of bad advice, and the market makers didn't really perform as we expected to, and a lot of things went wrong, right? But that being said, the situation is as it is, and what we decide to do is now to build back token utility, to keep building products, as you see, or keep building on our stack, and that's what we're good at. Like, I'm not a meme coin TGE launcher, right? Like, I don't do this every day. Like, what I do every day is building products, writing code, and doing DeFi stuff, right? That's what we are. That as a team that we excel at, right? And that's what I want to focus on as a company first and foremost. Build more products, build more revenue for the protocol. And then over time, we're going to rebuild the token utility. We're going to rebuild all the things. And the things are now what they are, right? And I cannot really change that, because we can all scream about it, but what would be best for all of us to just be positive. We're here. And I know the chart doesn't look good at all, But the counter side of that is like we could have also not done an airdrop, or we could have also not done a TGE. So I'm happy we did the TGE. It didn't go as planned, but I'm still happy we did it because now we do have a token and we can focus on that over time. We will go back a little bit more into product focus because the TGE didn't go well. So we are focusing on product. We're focusing on just building our core stack, what we've been doing all the time. And yeah, I do believe that a lot of the things in the current crypto markets, a lot of the tokens that are launching, a lot of these charts that you're seeing, it's a lot of fake stuff, right? Because a lot of these charts that you're seeing, they're just printing charts, like a casino, print a nice, ooh, nice chart, and then everybody happy, right? But a lot of things behind it is not real. Like what you see in the YND chart, yeah, the MEXC activating perps market without us approving it is fucking shit, right? And then sucking liquidity. I think that is not what we wanted, right? And it happens. And then we have to deal with that, and we're doing that, right? We're slowly but surely, as you guys saw on the stake DAO proposal, we have now injected more liquidity rewards in the ynRWAx YND pool. It still has around, I think, 60, 70% or 89% CRV rewards. And that's also the proposal that I posted in the beginning of the chat, that we want to kind of rotate the YND rewards not only via our own gate system, but we're going to inject that into the voting market on stake DAO, where $1 of YND gives us $1.60 of CRV incentive. That is a efficiency that we can play with, right? And then slowly but surely we're going to build back the token utility. We're going to make sure that things are running smooth, and we're going to list all these things on CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap, and everything will be cleaned up, right? But for now, we're focusing on the product. We're focusing building back the not building back, but keep building on the protocol that is actually going fantastic. We have so much interest. There's family offices interested. There's other big players interested in our technology stack. We did a good job there. The TGE that didn't go well for whatever, a lot of external factors, right? So yeah, that on the tokenomics section, and I hope that's clear. And I understand, if people are concerned or if people are upset, and I'm always here to talk and openly talk about these things because I am also sad, right? Like I obviously, I invested 2 or 3 years of my life in YieldNest, and then to see to open and to see happening to the token price what happened, nobody wanted that, right? But at the same time, I'm also happy that we did give an airdrop, we did do a TGE, because there's also other projects and other protocols that don't even get to that stage, right? There's a lot of protocols and projects that don't even do a TGE on an airdrop. So for me, it was important to just keep going and do it, and yeah, we did it. Everybody got their airdrop. Everybody got there, but obviously. It's a bit of pain right now, and things happened as they did, but we're moving forward, and I need, hopefully, please anyone in the chat communicate, because like I'm trying to be positive and just have my mind and focus on the things that are my expertise, DeFi, and focusing on the things that will make the protocol eventually survive and thrive. And I think in the current markets and the current attention that we're getting, we're at the right place at the right time. TGE didn't go well, but doesn't mean that the protocol is doomed to fail. This means that we have to pick ourselves back up. That's very hard for me personally as well, to be honest. And just keep going and not lose hope and not lose motivation to keep grinding, keep building products, making revenue with new products that we're pushing live, and that's what we're focused on right now, right? So I hope that's clear. It's a difficult conversation for me to have, but I did that also already in the previous thing. Yeah, thank you, Pasen. is set for Easter. Pasen is Easter in Dutch. So Pasen says Eve on mental help. Yeah, so Eve going up, that obviously helps. And he saw the ynRWAx, YND pool is now above $50,000. Still very small, right, in the grand scheme of things, but it's a start. So we're going to do it, huh? Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that, Ko. And I think, yeah, you know, I actually was a big Aladdin DAO farmer. I was in the farming the tokens a lot, and yes, that dumped in the beginning also massively, right? The difference for me that I really wish I did was just fuck decentralized exchanges, just only do DEX only, because then everything is like you can see all these things transparent. You can see like, yeah, who sold, who bought. Now with these fucking centralized exchanges, I have no idea, and it's still for me myself also, you know, a lot of open questions towards certain centralized exchanges. But I'm also one of the kind of, like, in my personal opinion, like instead of looking into the past, I want to look into the future, right? Like, because looking into the past of like, oh, what could I have done better? What could that? I've done that, of course. I've done massive retrospectives and massive looking back, etc. And you know, we should have done the market making in house. We should have done probably just DEX only launch and then later build it and do that, right? Yeah, Xborg, the same hard pay. Oh yeah, yeah. You know, it's a lot of entropy, right? Like it could have been very well that we did the TGE and everything was perfect. We got, you know, everything right. But you know, it is what it is, and you know, everybody complaining in the chat or writing like threads or whatever. Like, I am sensitive to that, and I listen and read all of them. But there's no need for us to get any drama or whatever. That doesn't give progress. I want to progress. I want to make sure that YND stays around, right? I don't want to, you know, have to close shop, and I want to just keep going, and I want to build revenue and everything. On a positive note, for example, our BNB product and our ETH products is generating revenue, and other products will also generate revenue. So let me actually go further in the question sheet, because that's the next thing, fees and buybacks. Before I move on, I really want to press here, like, is there any more questions or unclarity about this topic? I try to communicate as openly and transparently as I can about this topic. One thing that I will say is that in due time, it's a difficult topic, because there's a lot of powers at B that are a bit hard to, for any founder in crypto, very difficult thing doing a TGE. And there's a lot of powers at B and strange things that are constantly moving. It's a very new industry still, crypto, right? Especially for these token launches. We're still all trying to figure out what is the best and most honest way to do these TGEs and to do these distributions of tokens, including myself. Would I have done it differently looking back? Yes, I would. Did I learn from this? Yes, I did. So it's a bit fresh right now. The wound is a little bit fresh, and I will at some point want to kind of also for myself and for other founders probably do like a whole, you know, educational video for like what I learned as a founder. What would I have done better, and what are the evil things that I discovered, right? And it's a bit early to do that, because I don't want to be the kind of guy that it's like, oh, I'm blaming other people for whatever, and I don't want to do that. I want to point it to myself, and I want to kind of just motivate and just, you know, move forward right now. And in due time, I will want to make a whole video, or like on my old on DeFi channel. I don't know if people still remember that. I like see drop it in the chat here. I actually have my own old YouTube channel, and I probably will do a personal video on what I learned, what you know, all these components. So it's more like a, you know, here you go, Amadeo brands on DeFi. This is my old YouTube channel. I even did an interview with Andre Cronje, Wrecked News, and a lot of other things. So yeah, feel free to look at it. This is some old videos. There's even some some very old videos there of me. I'm getting a bit red. It's like very fun. So I would definitely recommend to watch some of these videos. Yes. So that's cool. Okay, so yeah, I hope it's all clear, because I'm here, guys. Like, if there's more questions or think that are unclear, like, please let me know. I want to be as transparent as possible and as open as possible, and it's yeah. I had Stani there as well. Correct. That was a very old one. That was actually Stani was in the old DeFi Capital office. Let me actually open that one, and it's very funny because you will you can see that here. Yeah, I'll post it here. Amadeo brands. It's Stani. This is an interview 4 years ago, and we're actually talking about the things that we're doing right now, right? Yeah, you can see AVE economics and real world asset money markets. That was my discussion with Stani 2 years ago. Yeah. All right, let's move forward. Yeah, cool. What is the question? Any possibilities of adding IMF lending market to YNUSDX? What is IMF lending market? Sounds like the IMF lending market. So it's like the International Monetary Fund. I don't think that's what it is, right? IMF lending. That's the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. I don't think that's the IMF lending, right? Probably something else. Oh, funny. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, please drop it here or drop it in the DeFi strategy channel. Yeah, and also on that, if we talk a little bit before I move into the buybacks, and well, I think I should probably drop into that first, because here, yeah, drop it here into the YieldNest DeFi strategy channel or in the governance forum if you want to write out a proposal or something like I did here. Let me get it. Yes, 1 second. There we go. Yeah, this proposal. I will talk about that proposal probably at the end a little bit more. Okay, let me continue out of the questions. Where are the questions? Oh, here you go. Okay, let's move on. So we discussed this very heavy topic of tokenomics, and I hope this interview is also going to be published. So anybody watching this, really want to be transparent and open about this as much as possible. And it's just really fucking hard to do, especially in these kind of markets. And as I said, just on a personal founder level, I will do just a founder retrospective on this in my own channel, my personal note, in due time. And from the YieldNest side, yeah, it's just the tokenomics are clearly displayed in our docs. We're building back the utility. Our tech stack is strong. Our connections are strong. Our motivation is still strong. So we're moving forward. We're not stopping. We're not stopping now. We're going forward, especially in these beautiful market conditions. So let's go. All right. So moving to the fees and buybacks. Yeah, live fees submitted, settings by products. Yes. What are the current rates and timelines for this? Yeah, exactly. So basically what we did, because of the fee collections, as you see a lot of protocols, when they get hacked or when something goes wrong, a lot of times there's a misconfiguration in fee collection flows or things like that. So our decision was to, before the TGE, all focus on getting more users in and not collecting a fee yet, but just focus on product growth. Then we do the TGE, and then we're focusing more on building process, build revenue, and building POL, etc. Right. So currently the fee collection modules are currently being developed by our tech team. You can see it as a fee switch, And at some point, they all will be activated. There is some product and some parts in our stack that we're already getting a fee. YieldNest has its own liquid staking derivative. In the beginning, we did native restaking, and I'm quite happy we did, because we have our own liquid staking derivative, right, with tens of millions of dollars of TVL, and that generates every month revenue, because we take 10% of the fee of what YNEV generates, right? YNEVX is our structured product, and YNEV is kind of like our own liquid staking derivative product that we built that generates a fee. ynRWAx doesn't take a fee yet, and those fee switches are going to be activated soon. And we're also, as you can see, the yield strategies are being rotated a little bit at the moment on the ETH side. The ETH yield scheme is quite competitive, and there's another like deep dive discussion, but I've seen a couple of other products going into like, oh, let's do some trading or arbitrage. I find that pretty risky. I really want to have high risk-adjusted returns. So on the ETH side, we're going to build another strategy that brings that yield probably to 5-6%, right? Like that is a very good yield basis for YNEVX, and then we will also take a bit of a fee, a performance fee on the buffer and on the other like lending or other strategies we will implement there, right? So that is going to come later. On the BNBX side, we're taking a 10% performance fee on all the rewards that we collect there, and that's slowly and surely being collected, right? And also the next question is, I hope this is clear, right? So YNEV, yes, we're generating a fee in that. YNEVX, we're going to generate a fee on that soon. YNLSDE, we're actually that product is going to stay alive, but we're not going to activate the fee switch there, because that is just basically an LSD basket, and we have our own LSD, so we're just focusing on our own LSD, and YNLSDE is just kind of be there, but we're not fully activating the fee switches there, and just going to slowly have that as a separate product. The strategy stays alive, but we're not actively going to activate the fee switches there. YNBNBX, we're generating a fee. YNUCX, we're generating a fee. And ynRWAx, that's going to come out so soon, slowly but surely, we're also going to generate fees. And YNBTC, that product is being sunset, right? That's probably also a good topic to talk about. We work with different Bitcoin derivatives, right? And we obviously want to work with any protocol that wants to work with the YieldNest stack. And these two different Bitcoin derivatives wanted to use the YieldNest stack to get rewards from kernel, get rewards on Hemi, and we were working together with them to make that possible. And after the TGE, we told them, like, look, guys, like, also your points and seeds are only valid if you can prove that the BTC that is actually displayed in your TVL is actually real. And we investigated that, and we removed them because we didn't really trust the backing too much. So we just better safe than sorry there, right? So, but in due time, YNBTCX, so the BTC derivative, where we're going to stack different BTC yields, is going to come in due time, and that will also generate. And more products to come, right? So the YieldNest stack is morphing into this more like Vault as a server architecture, and also into very pristine collateral like RWA vaults. And the ynRWAx is kind of the first experiment, but we will have more vaults to come there as well over time. Yeah. All right. Fee distribution and buffer balances. Great question, right? So what is the current balances, and when was the last buyback and distribute transaction date, right? So we are not activating the buyback and distribute just yet, because we want to first, all the way in the beginning, we want to build back the protocol revenue, complete the full product stack, and we're building up those fees. And then at some point we're gonna strike in a good way, and some of those fees those fees will be buying back and distributing YND to users. Currently, we're already distributing the YND rewards from the community rewards to users, and then soon all those buyback fees will be distributed, and the whole flywheel is going to start. And we can already see that the product itself, the flywheels there are working, and then soon also the YND like buyback and distributed fly will be fully activated. So for now, that is still kind of like in a stage of where we're testing a lot of these flows. And again, we don't want to rush anything there because, better safe than sorry. That's one of my main priorities. Like, security is for me very, very important, right? Also in my background and expertise in that, right? I hope that's clear. If there's any question related to that, please let me know. The IFRS3 forecast, I don't know, but I think we're looking at we have more than $100 million in TVL at the moment, so yeah, it's looking great. There's a lot of fees rolling in, and we're consolidating all of that, and we will. And then the question ourselves of public transparency, June and dashboard. Yes, like we will have all of that, and you see Hin here. Yeah, Hin is here in the chat. The June master. And we're already working on that, right? So some of the fees we're collecting is already in a staging area. We're already like, how can we display that? Probably just June dashboard, and then we will have like an analytics page on our GUI, our app page, and then you can very easily see all the revenue and everything that's happening right there. All right, so that's the fees and buybacks. Any more questions about the fees and buybacks? Really here to respond to anything. All right, all clear. Oh, I see Michael is asking a question. Waiting for that. Yes. I will move on a little bit to one more. So growth and forecast. What do we see as a realistic growth for? Yeah, well, we have a lot of interest in our RWA product. It's insane, like from a lot of different angles. Institutionals and others, because it's removing so much bureaucracy, right? Like normally if you do these kind of deals, you just so we have a lot of interest there, and respond to your strategies being researched more. What I mean, but thank you for the clarification there. The way that YieldNest works, ynRWAx in itself, it's a living product, right? Like we will in strategies can be added and removed, right? Right now we're exploring new high risk reward strategies for ynRWAx, for example, because the current ETH yields are good, and we were exploring a token-MAC integration, but token-MAC only gives us like 0.1% extra yield on top of YNETH. YNETH is actually doing very well as a liquid staking derivative with restaking and just ETH staking rewards, and combined into one basket with a buffer, so you can instantly redeem YNETH. You don't have to always wait into a ynRWAx. You don't have to wait into the queue. So that product is fully live. But we're constantly, also for the USD one and other ones, we're constantly looking for new strategies. If you go to the DeFi strategy channel, or if you're one of the OGs, we're constantly talking about new DeFi strategies. Also in the forum, we're constantly exploring. And it's, of course, as you can understand, it's a lot of weighing between risk and rewards, right? Like, I don't really feel that comfortable of doing some of the things that some other competitors are doing. I think it's pretty risky, and right now the ynRWAx asset itself is very, very safe and secure. And I would, it's always a trade-off between security and safety and super high yields, right? And what we want to do is a little bit in the middle, so to have high yields but risk adjusted, right? That is the focus of the max LRTs and YieldNest products that we're aiming for. Okay, I hope that's clear, Michael. Yeah. For growth TVL, like super happy with all the interest we're getting on different sides, and also the BNB product is growing. The stablecoin product will be growing, but because what we're going to do there is we're exploring different strategies there. We have a couple strategies on in mind that we're going to share. And the biggest, my yield target for ynRWAx probably around like 10 to 11%. I would be very, very happy with that amount. All right, moving on. So governance and voting. Yeah, so I asked Sean next week to do a deep dive into the governance and voting in the AMA, but today I will answer all of the questions that have been asked about that, right? And next week we're gonna go even deeper into it. All right, first question, the VOED voting clarity, right? Is there a way to see the registered vote? Yes, there is, right? So if you go to the DAO portal, see if I can share my screen again. 1 second. Yeah, if you go to the DAO portal, you can see here the proposals and yeah, total token locked. You can stake them, and you can actually you can vote on different gauges, right? And soon, actually, we will have our first proposal that we're going to release. Let me actually open that proposal. I already linked it here in the chat, right? Let's go. It's actually really interesting what I uncovered here. Let's go, right? So here is, second, here's the DAO votes. Go. Yeah. Okay, so there's no proposal at the moment. And also the whole governance stack, the whole, working with the Aragon stack, it's a great experience, to be honest. It's going well, but it's always it's not an instant it's done kind of thing, right? It's kind of like a constantly moving, evolving, decentralized autonomous organization, right? So it's constantly moving and evolving. So basically, as you can see, I'm an admin, so I can create proposals, and soon other people can also create the proposals here and do anything. And right now already you have the gauge votes, right? So you can vote on these things at the moment, right? So you can stake a token and you can vote here, right? So if you then vote, you will get like the different explanation of what this is, and you can vote on one of these gauges. And you can see here the votes that have been cast, and then you will see on the reward side, if you hold any of these pools, you will get the rewards dripped, and you can claim them from the rewards page. Simple as that. And soon you will also see these proposals, and then a proposal goes live. First, what we do with a proposal, we do a temperature check. I just voted yes on my own proposal. And for example, what I'm trying to ask here is like, hey, what is really cool, what I found out is if we go to stake DAO, for example, what we found out is that we basically can do the vote market. We can get more rewards for the YND. And I kind of want to explore that. And I did that already with ynRWAx YND pool. And that now has quite healthy yields, right? And how it's kind of like a really bit of a curve deep dive here, right? So ynRWAx YND, what we do here, instead of injecting the votes of the YND emission directly into the ynRWAx YND pool, and then you have to claim it from the rewards page, what we're thinking of doing is instead of injecting the YND directly into the pool, we're actually going to inject it into the voting market, right? And what does that mean? If you go here to, you see here, it means that you can see here the YND, you can see different, like, what are people voting on, right? And you can see that here, if we go to this ynRWAx YND. This is what I experimented with yesterday, a couple of days ago. I have set up this market, and you can see here, it's pretty cool. We injected around $400 of YND incentives, and in return, we got $700 of CRV rewards that are streamed to this specific pool. That means we got a bribe efficiency. That means that we're giving $400 of incentives, and we're getting $700 of incentives back for people that are in the ynRWAx YND pool. So if we go to Curve, you can see now the ynRWAx YND pool, still a long way to go. We still have some ways to go to build the liquidity back into the places where we want it to be, right? But slowly but surely we'll build that liquidity back. So you can see here, it's actually cooler to showcase the whole thing. Oh, here you go. Yeah, you can see here there's around $10 million of ynRWAx ETH. So that means that the ynRWAx pack is pretty healthy. So we can actually use that also in the YND pool. You can see there's almost $60,000 in here. So it's a little bit more deposits that came in, a little bit of volume. And basically here, what we're doing here, instead of a user having to, I hold the ynRWAx YND pool token, then I have to go to the DAO page to claim the rewards. You can actually just go directly into this page. You can have your tokens, and then you can actually claim it from here. Or you simply go to the here to Stake DAO, one of my favorite partners. We're really good partners with them. And you go here. See, there's around 85% yield that you will receive on this pool, and you can inject it here, and you will be able to claim rewards in CRV. So I know the YND token is suffering a little bit, but if you have YND and you have some ETH, put it in this pool, and you will earn rewards in CRV that you can sell for more US dollars or more ETH or whatever you want to do, right? So yeah, I think this is pretty cool. And we're kind of launching a proposal for this. So instead of injecting those gauge rewards into direct emissions in YND here, I feel it's probably more intelligent and efficient that we inject it here, because then we have a higher efficiency, right? So this is an exploration, something that I think is smart for the protocol. And obviously, I'm a bit of a curve nerd myself, so I really like these kind of mechanics. There's a whole analogy between the political markets and like lobbyists, and for another time. But I can talk for hours about these mechanics, right? I'm really excited about this, really, and it's working, right? This is a proposal that I now first temperature check, and then at some point the proposal will go live here, and people can vote yes or no if they want that. Maybe there might be a lot of people that, no, I don't want CRV rewards, I just want my rewards in YND. Could be, right? And that I do want to listen to those voices. I personally think it's better to because the efficiency of this $445 of rewards gives you $730 because CRV is now $1 of incentives. Pretty simple equation in my opinion. So I hope that's clear. Excited. So soon the first proposal, and then anybody can come in and start to vote on that. All right. Yeah, and then the last question, why voting is required in SDYND? Voting is not required if you're SDYND. You don't have to do anything, especially if you're in stake. SDYND is auto-compounding the YND rewards, right? Important to say that obviously the VE YND rewards that get the YND emission, they will just keep on getting that via Merkle, right? So those rewards will still be distributing via Merkle. All right, moving on. Any more questions about governance and voting, or is everything clear? I assume everything is clear. Moving on. All right, last topic, product community questions. Let's go. Excited. Okay, AI implementations, still the plans and any updates? Yes, so basically we have our own kind of Nest AI. We have our own ELISA model, and we built this interface with Save and everything. And it was an experiment to be in the loop of all the AI developments, right? I see some good developments on the AI front. I see cloud moving into like financial data and DeFi stuff. So it's really interesting to see how fast that space is moving. Right now, we're full focused on this protocol revenue on just the max LRTs and the YieldNest core products. And in due time, we will also spend time again on the AI optimization. And we will kind of bring out the AI bot with all the interface. If you go to Nest AI's website, you can see some of the components that we already built. But as in software development, especially when you want to release it at scale, it requires a little bit more attention. So we build it in a sense that it's working on a demo level, but in order to release it at scale and in the most secure manner, it will require a little bit more audits and time in order to release that. And I think next week, Sean is going to come on the AMA, and he's mostly focused on the AI side. I think he will be the right person to answer more questions on that front, right? Yeah. All right. One more question for beginners. If someone has YND, how can they best utilize that in the pool? I would say right now with the Votium rewards, our ynRWAx YND pool is very attractive. As you saw, it currently has a yield, and obviously, what's really important to understand, the yields for these pools, they are linearly going down, right? So if now there's $60,000, but if now there's $1 million moves in, obviously those yields will be lower, right? But the yields right now are pretty high. I think still around like 90% yield. So if you have a little bit of YND and a little bit of ETH, I think the best way to utilize it is go into the ynRWAx YND pool. Right now, 86.57% yield. Take into account that those yields are still processing on the StakeDAO side. So how StakeDAO works, you use them because you get more boost on your pool, right? If you go into the pool yourself, you will get around 40% rewards. But if you do it via StakeDAO, you get around 86% rewards, right? I can have another session for that if needed. But it's basically because they're voting also in Curve, and they have voting power. So that's why you get a little bit higher rewards if you do it via StakeDAO. So that's quite an innovative mechanism built by Curve there to, stack all these the game theoretical VE tokenomics that Mike from Curve worked out perfectly. I'm a big fan of that, and I would say that specific pool is pretty good. Let me actually link it into the chat for anybody that's interested. You can also provide single-sided liquidity, but then you have a little bit of slippage. So I recommend do a little bit of ETH and a little bit of YND, and don't stake it, and then go to StakeDAO on the yield section and stake that pool into StakeDAO, right? That would be my recommendation for people that are interested in helping YieldNest and supporting the pack and everything. All right, this was a very nice email. I would love any more questions, guys. I'm here, fully focused, fully committed. Any more questions? Any more concerns or any more things that you want me to respond to? I'm here fully. Nice. I see people typing. Let's go. Find soon of what? The Well, I think, yes. Great question, Roger. Thank you for that. Yeah, it's a moving target, right? Because I want to focus and I want to release ynRWAx, and that requires me to go to Sydney. I have to. I want to inspect a couple of things. I want to be 100% sure that that is all secure and. Yeah, thanks, Michael. Yeah, well, I will just quickly answer the question from Giulio Lafay. Once staked on StakeDAO, you can withdraw the LP token later. Yes. Yes. You can withdraw the LP token anytime. Be aware, guys, with these operations on ETH L1, they're a little bit more pricey, right? So if you do it with $100, don't do it. It's not worth it. Only do it with at least 5 to 10K. I'm not saying you have to do that. No, this is not financial advice. This is if you have YND, ETH, put it in there, but be aware of the gas cost, right? So it's not a very cheap operation to say, right? It will cost some gas, right? And we're not, it's utility. So you can do it, you don't have to, right? You can also just stake it in VYND or SDYND. That's a bit cheaper. Yeah, now going back to Roger's question. Yeah, when do we buybacks? When do we activate that, right? So I would say we're doing that when we're ready, right? I need to just I need to get the RWA product live. I want to get the ETH product at a better stage. The BNB product is doing great, and the USD product I also want to get off the ground in a fashion where it's generating more significant amount of revenue, and then there's already money dripping in, and then at some point we will activate the buybacks and distribute, right? So it's not just the buyback, it's a buyback and it distributes it to the VE, YND holders, right? So that's going to be activated. Yeah, divine soon. I don't have an exact timeline for that, after all the drama and all the shit we've been to, it's not been the easiest. Let's say it that way. It's not been easy for the team because we get so much hate, so much attacks. Although we just gave an airdrop and it's like we gave away free money, and then we get a lot of hate. Like like fuck. But anyway, like I think that I'm not gonna give a specific timeline just yet on that. But it's gonna happen when it happens, and especially if you're in the OG. If you're on the OG Nestlinks channel, we will communicate it there first, and then you will. There will be signs. There will be signs. We're now kind of just, it's dark here in my office. I'm grinding 24/7 here, and I'm as you can see, we're working hard. Our tech stack is amazing, and focus on that, and the buybacks will come. Surely but surely. And anybody that wants to dump can dump, and anybody that wants to buy that can buy, right? Right now, I want to just focus on the tech and the merits and the buybacks and the liquidity profile, all those things. Slowly but surely. All right, sorry if I explained. Any progress with YND? Yes, a lot of progress. Maybe Nick wants to join the stage. We have Nick here as well. Let's see if I can let Nick join. Maybe Carl, you can invite Nick to the stage. I think maybe Nick is probably the best. Oh yeah, there we go. In stage. Can you, Carl, can you add Nick to the stage potentially?
Yeah, let me try.
Cool. So the RWA product is going well. I have been in real world asset space for quite some time, right? As also the video showcases from 4 years ago, where I was already talking about that specific topic. And it's all coming together. The brains of me and Nick are merging. Nick has an extensive background in real estate. I have an extensive background in DeFi. So we're merging our brains, and yeah, go for it, Nick.
Hey guys, thanks Dio. All right, so just to give a little bit of background for everyone, I'm actually an Australian lawyer by trade. So this has become a fantastic opportunity, as Dio mentioned, that we're able to essentially merge the two worlds and merge Dio and my brain into one in order to create this fantastic product. And so I'm super pumped about this RWA product, and the way that we've structured this particular product is to ensure that everything that we do is completely and fully secured in the real world. And so what that means is we've gone down the path of engaging with international law firm Bird & Bird, engaged a fund manager who holds an Australian financial services license. So that way we could go down the path and ensure that any funds that we deploy on this particular strategy is going to be secured in the real world. And we're securing that by way of mortgages and caveats on the Australian real estate. And at the moment, we're closing off deals to the tune of approximately $700 million. So this is actually going to be a huge project that we're going to be taking on. And this is how we're able to offer such a fantastic yield. I understand that it's already being showcased that we are going to be starting off with 11% APY, which is going to be highly competitive. And all the properties that we have got access to have got valuations from independent blue chip valuers to confirm their valuations of the properties to ensure that we never go too high up the risk curve, and the loan to value ratios are always going to be acceptable to us. And yeah, so we're really excited to launch this product, and everything is coming along quite nicely now. And yeah, as Dio mentioned, we're finalizing the last few components, making sure that all the due diligence down our end is done correctly and in the proper form and fashion. And then once that's finalized, we're going to go live. So yeah, really excited for this product. And yeah, please let me know if there's any questions that I can answer.
Yeah, now it's time, guys.
Yes, so we're going to start off with Australian real estate market for now, due to the fantastic relationships that we have there. Obviously, being an Australian myself and having a legal background does really help. And having those existing connections and network in Australia, it just becomes a no-brainer to start off in Australia. All right, fantastic. We're also looking forward to it. We're really excited about it. And then once we go live with the token, Dio and I have been cooking some fantastic DeFi integrations as well that is going to really showcase what we really can do here. So yeah, it is a really exciting expansion for the team and for YieldNest in general. Which state in Australia? We're starting off in New South Wales and in Queensland. They're the two states that we're starting off first.
And one really important thing that goes against my religion is no KYC or AML stuff, because it's all just it's DeFi, right? So we're making sure that it's a permissionless RWA asset, right? If we're that's really important. So it's a free asset, moving freely around DeFi. Really important.
Exactly. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I'm from Sydney originally, so yeah, I'm very, that's where I was born and raised, so yeah.
I think
awesome.
soon ZK Sean and myself will fly to Sydney for a couple of meetings with some of the law firms. Nick already knows all of the people there, so this is me and Sean fly there. We should maybe organize a meetup BVM in Sydney if you're from around there. We should organize some sort of a YieldNest drinks or something. That would be pretty cool, actually.
Oh, you're from Piedmont? Okay, all right, nice. That's awesome. I'm from Chatswood, so not far.
And it's really interesting, and we will, as you guys are used to, like with Llama Risk and other deep dive articles on these topics will be released, and it's a really interesting space because you can see, what does a bank actually do, right? A bank takes your money and starts to lend it out to other projects, and if they fuck up, you're screwed, right? Like it's like in this case, you can pick like, oh, you want to do this private credit thing or whatever. And it's like we're basically fulfilling with private credit a function that those banks don't want to do because it's too complex or too much overhead for them. And we obviously move much more flexibly, we have more flexibility there, so we can fill a lot of gaps there. I'm super excited on that because at the end of the day, I always said like imagine a mortgage industry that actually moves on chain, right? And I don't know if you saw that, Nick, but Australia, since I think as of today, accepts Bitcoin for mortgages and also other crypto assets, as far as I read it.
I did see that. Yeah, that was rather interesting. Very interesting that they're starting to get rather progressive, which is nice to see.
Yeah, well, I believe it when I see it, but it seems to be. But it's always like especially with centralized governments, they will. There's always a catch, so watch out. Well, it would be great if a reality in the future where basically DeFi protocols can function as some sort of markets to give out mortgages and these things, or give out private credit lines to different developer sites and things like that. It's very interesting. It's such a big development. It's literally it's literally going to change the world, right? How I would kind of analogize it is to like voice over IP. Do you guys remember the traditional like phones where you had to like with a cable, you had to beep 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 beep, hello, right? Like, but now everything happens via a WhatsApp call or a Telegram call or a Discord call, right? Where in the past it was all phone lines, and suddenly it was voice over IP, and that kind of happened overnight. We don't even think about it, but all these in the past, if you're a bit older like me, I had huge phone bills. If I would travel abroad, I had like, oh, okay, I have to pay $100, $200 bill now because I'm traveling abroad and my phone calls go up. Now with voice over IP, it's not needed anymore, right? The same thing is going to happen with money, right? We're so used to, I have to go to a bank to take a loan. I have to open a savings account. I need to have a bank account. Actually, I think that's going to fade away more and more and more over time, where it's just like, hey, you have your own self-custodial crypto account for some nerds like us, or you have this account abstraction thing, and it becomes our own money again. Those middlemen, banks, will become legacy. Why do you need a bank? It's just a bank is just a middleman between where you want to send the money and your money, right? Why do you need that? Like in the crypto age. So I think overnight that's going to happen. That's going to flip, right? So and we're here, we're active, we're aligned. Like I feel Nick and I talk about it a lot. I feel we're finally first and at the right time, at the right place for this to get it done. Yeah.
No, I completely agree with you. We've got the first movers advantage on this, and obviously with the network and with the connections that we have and the setup that we have here on this particular product, I think we've got a huge advantage here. And obviously, we're going to showcase this as soon as we go live, and this is why it makes it so exciting as well. Would love to answer any other questions on the RWA if there are anything else that we could answer.
Yeah. Jumper, let's go. I know Jumper is going to be an RWA bull.
All right. Legalities of the RWA process. All right. That might take some time to explain all the nitty gritty, but high level, essentially, and in terms of the middlemen, there isn't going to be any middlemen. So essentially the way that we're structuring it all is via our fund manager, Kimber Capital, who holds an Australian financial services license. So everything that we do is going to be regulated, completely regulated by our Australian fund manager. So they ensure that everything that we do and the mortgages that are registered are all done in the proper form and proper manner in order to ensure that everything that we do and that funds are safe and secure. So that is one of the most important elements here. So that way we have control over how the funds are going to be utilized by the parties there in order to ensure that funds are always safe. So in the unlikely event that there is a default, we have the mortgages, we have the caveats in order to secure the funds. So in the highly unlikely event that there is a default, we can actually appoint liquidators and we could liquidate the properties in order to recoup all the principal and interest that is due. I hope that answers your question, Jumper.
And I want to, yes, and I want to add to that, this kind of like the most interesting process about this whole setup, right? Because a lot of RWA assets that we see in the current DeFi landscape are unsecured credit, right? And that means you're basically giving somebody money and he says, hey, I'm going to pay you money back, but there's nothing behind it, right? There's no kind of, if he doesn't pay you back, there's no consequences for him. There's no things you hold of him. The way we structure ynRWAx is really important because, like, I have worked in the RWA space, but worked with MakerDAO, Fortunify, and others, and I've seen the issues there with undersecured credit lines. Obviously risky, right? In our case, it's secured because when you inject in ynRWAx, there is an entity somewhere that holds the mortgages, the caveats, etc. That means that if that specific project doesn't pay its yield or principal, you can actually claim the underlying assets that are backing the loan, right? So that is kind of like the biggest innovation. Well, it's more like we're going from AVS curation to RWA curation and strategies, right? And it kind of fits in our stack, right? Where as people from maybe older in the community remember that we categorized AVSs, we categorized risk scores, kind of similar. Obviously, I don't have the expertise to judge all these mortgages and KVs. Nick does, right? So Nick and other entities and people like underwrite documents and prove and accountants, etc. And there is a certain backing behind the RWA credits, right? And then if something goes wrong, God forbid, right? There's especially in the first pilot project that we're doing, 3 months, there's already a buyer of the debt, right? So the way you need to see it, like in this case, the developer has a lot of ground, land that he sits on, has finished protocols and products, right? And he wants to then build that new site, that new land, right? And he uses his all like existing real estate to use that as a collateral to borrow against it, right? And we hold that collateral, and there's a certain duration of that loan. For the first pilot, there's basically already a buyer that buys the debt after the 3-month period, and it's a bank that buys the debt, etc., and it rolls over. The actual loan is like 18 months, right? But the first pilot is a 3-month duration. Then we are going to have to figure out how to communicate and how to display in the UI and on the technical side those duration, the tranching of the different liquidity windows, right? Because we loan out the capital to a developer that builds it, right? When that developer builds the site, and when you can imagine if the foundation is laid, like let's say you see here this big piece of land, right, somewhere in Melbourne or wherever, right? Then somebody owns that land and somebody wants to build something. If you then go to a bank or to which individuals say, hey, I want to build something, everybody was like, yeah, well, there's nothing there, I'm not going to lend you money, right? But we know the developer, we know the other properties he has, he will use as a collateral. Then he starts to build the thing, and then when the thing is already more developed, banks and other people will be happy to loan out capital at a certain rate, right? So if we get, let's say we get like between 11 or 15%, if somebody then if the bank or other people want to buy over that loan, and maybe they say like, oh, I will do the same loan but for 8%, then the developer can actually sell that loan, and it's just this whole dynamic process. But how we will structure it is with very clear liquidity windows and clear maturity, so that there's predictability for the end user, and the system itself is this thing that will just keep on working, and eventually, the external, it's a little bit hard for me to explain, but I hope it's clear, right? It's completely new in DeFi. I've never seen any RWA product or anything that's going this deep into like tranching, durations, and all those things. It's like it's it's quite a lot of complexity, as you can see. But I'm very excited. It feels, it feels like DeFi is made almost for these kind of structured products, right? Because in traditional finance, again, if you want to like do something like this, the structuring of these different RWA assets, you will get a bunch of bullshit. And I think I do feel there's a lot of demand for these kind of protocols, right? So we're talking already to a lot of different whales and it's always an 80-20 kind of rule, right? But we want to open it up fully for retail. A user that has $1,000 can use it, and a user that has $10 million can use it, right? Like, I don't want to discriminate. I think that DeFi should be for institutions and retail. It doesn't matter, right? And that's the way I structure it, the way we structure it, right? And I do feel there's a lot of demand, yeah. Especially in crypto, it's funny, right? Like, you saw some of these protocols constantly blowing up, like, Ripple is going up, other things are going up. Why, right? Well, there's a lot more money behind it. Well, we have some nice commitments, but of course, that's similar to the USDX product. It always takes a little bit of time before the whole flywheel kicks in, like ynRWAx or YND and YieldNest. See, there's a consistent inflow, right? So these things take time, but we do get already a lot of interest. And a lot of these, bigger whales and other people behind it, they will first look into the protocol. Oh, is the product actually paying out the yield? Are the fee flows working? Is everything working? Is the protocol not getting hacked, et cetera, et cetera? We obviously already have a good reputation on that side, and it's gonna keep on kicking ass. Yes, exactly, Michael. Yeah, the ynRWAx is like a gateway drug for more amazing properties, right? Like, when I joined like crypto, that was kind of like my focus, right? Like, I was working for the Nationale Hypotheek, NHG, Nationale Hypotheek. The NHG, and I think Pasen or other Dutch people know that, the National Mortgages Guarantee, right? So I was actually doing a digital transformation project when I was still an IT consultant in the Netherlands, where I was helping the national mortgages industry to optimize the way they do that, right? So in the Netherlands, basically all the banks are plugged into this national mortgage guarantee system, right? And now if you buy a house and if you have less than 100K income or something, or 50K income, you can get a insurance on your mortgage, right? And I was building a whole system for that, and I already saw, like, oh my god, this is so inefficient. Because what I was actually doing there, like, every year, the rule set of these mortgages and why and how you can actually apply for these guarantees changes, right? They change on the top. So there is some politician, some bureaucrat somewhere, they make certain decisions, they sign documents, and then it goes into another thing and another thing and another thing, and eventually it lands on my desk as a developer, and then I need to implement logic that will change that whole system with all the logic and big data stuff and all the data stuff, where then the bank worker that wants to make a mortgage for almost became a customer. Yeah, Passe. So you know that process, right? So if you go to the bank, you buy a house in the Netherlands, you type it into the system, and then the bank worker gives you a mortgage guarantee, right? And I already saw that whole process was so fucking stupid, and we spent like I think I worked there for 3 to 4 months, and then I did another project, right? I was a consultant, so I was kind of moving around different projects with my expertise at the time. I was mostly specialized in ERP, like custom ERP enhancements and business logic improvements and these things. And I saw very clearly that these rule sets that come from the government, in this case, right, and then the mortgages that are being given out, that the process is so opaque. It actually goes pretty fast. They put a whole wrapper around it to kind of hide all the shit that they had to do. But then changes came. It was a 2-3 month product, project to change all the rule sets of that system to the new rules every year, right? And that, when I was a consultant, I was making $1,000 a day, right? I was not making that personally, but the government was, Yeah, thanks, Bas. Yeah, that's an old, very old photo. Yeah, and that rule set was very, very also. And actually, at that time, I was already familiar with crypto. I quit that. Yeah, that was actually the last job that I did at ynRWAx, and I was like the lead developer for that. So I had to deploy all those new rule sets. I think well, fucking stupid, because there's these government bureaucrats that decide something, they write it on pieces of paper, and then you have developers that need to make sense of it. And there's all this legacy software, and I had to connect it all together to make sense of all the bullshit they're giving me. And then mortgages will be, then the mortgages will be like.
You still look the same. You still look the same, Dio. You don't age at all. I don't know what you're doing, but it's working miracles.
I must say, I think the TGE did age me a little bit. I did, like, my hairline did definitely decline more, as you can see, right? I'm hiding it with my, so I did get.
Not at all.
Yeah, I love fun guys. Yeah, so I can talk ages about that. I can talk so much money. Lol. I can talk ages about these mortgages, and actually that's when I joined crypto, right, full time. I was like, what the fucking bullshit? Because if you do this on a blockchain, the government with a multisig can just be like, hey, we're changing the rule set, and it will automatically trickle down in software, right? It's like, hey, why don't we do that? And I actually proposed that at the time to my, I had 1 day a week that I can work on my own innovation and stuff. And I built a whole fucking thing. I was like, hey, let's change this. Let's put it on the blockchain. Let's put it on Ethereum, right? This was back in 2015, 16, where I was super bullish on ETH, right? So it was like, hey, let's put this on Ethereum. We don't need all this fucking bullshit. We can do it all on chain, and we don't need all this bureaucracy. Remove the ynRWAx, remove all these fucking middlemen, because the ynRWAx is this huge bureaucratic organization with a lot of money, actually. It's not needed. Like, we can automate all that bullshit. And now I think we're getting here. Like, we don't need the banks to build new projects. We don't need all that stuff. We can actually peer-to-peer. As humans, we're much more powerful than we think, and we can all do that. We don't need these predatory organizations that just steal money from us, right? Yeah. So that's enough for my rant, guys. Any more questions? Else I'm going to call it a night here. As you can see, it's getting dark. Yeah. Any more questions or things you guys want to talk about? I'm happy to respond to any questions. Yeah. I'm a bit sad. Some of the people that are in the YieldNest official group constantly screaming about things, they're not here, because I'm all ears. I'm always open to talk about anything. But fine. A really good AMA. Very happy to be here with all of you guys. And yeah, thank you, Nick, for joining. Thank you, Carl. And thanks, everyone, for joining the AMA. And have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys. Have a good weekend.
No.
Cheers.
Happy weekend, guys.